Hey everybody, welcome to the show. This is Dr. Levi with your show, The Dr. Levi Show. Today is August 3rd, 2016. Absolutely beautiful day here in Los Angeles. So I hope wherever you are today, you're enjoying it and having a great day. Remember, the universe is working for you. It's conspiring for your greater good. So believe in yourself and know that number one, you're worthy. And number two, everything's going to work out. No matter how it may appear, it's about learning lessons of life, teaching different lessons, and growing from the entire experience. Life is a journey, and the journey is the experience. It's really like that. Well, I want to tell you the show today, we have a lot of jam-packed, literally, information for you today. It's a very educational show. And before we get started, I want to dedicate this show to Chad Robinson. He was an extraordinary man who was actually a listener and viewer of the show and really enjoyed our show. And he actually passed away because of a form of skin cancer. So to his family, I want to thank his family for allowing us to honor him. And this show, which is about sunscreen, sun protection, and about different forms of cancer, is really in honor of Chad Robinson, a great man, a great father, a great community activist, a great grandfather, a great human being, someone who really lived in the essence of what it is to live in the now, because the now is all you really have. You know, as he went through his transition, he never complained. You know, even in the pain that he was in, he continued to have faith and to be grateful that he was here every day. He had a wonderful family, great daughter, just a great support system. And it reminds me as a physician, and more importantly, as a man who is trying to live a life of service, how important it is to be there for people when they need us. It's kind of like when we're moving. My dad used to always say that you know who your friends really are when you're moving because they show up to help you move. And I think life is like that. When we're moving on to a different part of our life, when we're transitioning from this life to a different life, to a spiritual life, to a metaphysical life, then it's so important that we show up, that we're present, that we're there to know that we may one day need help. So we only get what we're willing to give away. So why not be more compassionate? Why not be more loving? Why not be present for people who need us? So for Chad Robinson, his family was always there. And I want to really say we're grateful that he enjoyed the show. We're grateful that he was a listener and that he appreciated the show. So Chad Robinson, we know you're in heaven right now, enjoying all the bliss of that great place. We hope to join you there soon. And I know that your family, they miss you. And this show, of course, the Dr. Levi Show, we miss you. So with that said, this show is dedicated to Chad Robinson and his wonderful family. So today we're going to talk about sunscreen, sunblock, and different forms of different forms of cancer that are really induced by sun exposure. And then we have a wonderful guest on today, Alan, who's a friend of mine, and we worked together last year, so I'll tell you about that also. And he has a great company doing phenomenal things in the community and internationally to bring about an awareness of sunscreen, sunblock protection, why it's important, and why we really have to do it. It's not negotiable. If you want to have great sun. If you want to have great skin without horrible sun exposure, well, his company, Sunshield, is about giving you the basics and understanding of what you should use, how you should use it, and how your skin will definitely be protected. So I hope that makes sense. Now, let's talk about sunscreen and sunblock. So when you're buying sunscreen and different things for sun protection, there's always a statement there. It says SPF, which means sun protection factor. Now, when we're talking about the sun protection factor, it is basically an understanding of that if you're in the sun for a certain amount of time, then you're going to have this amount of exposure and this amount of protection. But it's not a one-to-one correlation. For example, I want to read the numbers so you can be clear about this. If the SPF is 2, then this absorbs approximately 50% of UV radiation. Now, SPF of 2, you would think that, well, if it's a 4, that means it's 100% protection. Well, it doesn't go like that. So it's SPF of 15 means that you have 93% absorption of UV radiation. If there's an SPF of 34, then there's 97% of UV radiation is absorbed. Now, that factor, the sun protection factor, is really given to us by government standards that really look at UVB protection. Now, there's UVB and UVA. UVB is really, we think of it as the burning rays of the sun. UVA is the aging rays of the sun, meaning that both are are both will cause damage. UVB, the burning, often we think of that as an association of causing cancer and really bad sunburn. UVA, aging, meaning that will cause different types of breakdown in your skin, the collagen in your skin, as well as increase the wrinkles that you have in your skin. Now, when you're choosing a sunscreen or sunblock, it's important that you choose one that's broad spectrum. Well, the question now is, well, what does broad spectrum mean, Dr. Levi? Well, broad spectrum means that you will have protection from UVA as well as UVB rays of the sun, ultraviolet radiation. Now, the major issue here is so often people will say that, well, I'll apply it right when I go out. Well, guess what? It's so important that you apply sunscreen, sunblock 20 to 30 minutes before you have sun exposure. It's not when you walk out the door you put it on. You really want to have that protection absorbed into your skin so you're ready to really stave off the horrible effects that the sun can have on us. And our relationship with the sun is a very funny one because we need the vitamin D from the sun. It helps us to metabolize that. But at the same time, the issue is we need to protect ourselves from it. So it's a very delicate balance. But if you want to have great skin, if you want to be youthful, if you want to be cancer-free, then these are things that you have to do. And the issue here is that even if you do those things, protect yourself, you're not completely without risk because if you have a family history of melanoma, for example, of skin cancers, if you have a family history of one person in your family having it, then it puts you at greater risk. If you have more than 30 to 50 moles, some research says that puts you at greater risk. If you have very fair skin, if you have albinism, which is someone who has albino skin tone, have very red hair, and their skin has no pigment, no melanin, then they're at greater risk. If you have more freckles, you're at greater risk. If you live in a climate where there's greater sun exposure, for example, Hawaii or Arizona or Australia, then of course you're at greater risk. So the issue here is really one very phenomenally simple one, and that is it's important that you do something every day to protect yourself. Now, I also want to remind you of this. If you're in the sun and it's a cloudy day, well, guess what? Even in a cloudy day, there's still approximately 80% of the sun rays that will still permeate through, which will hit you. So you still have to protect yourself even when it's cloudy, a rainy type day, you still have to do this. So often we think, oh, well, it's cloudy, I don't need anything on my skin. Well, that's not true. The same with if you're going to the beach. When you're at the beach, the sand, for example, will have a 17% reflective aspect of the sun, so giving you greater exposure. If you're snowing, if you're at an area where there's snow, there's, I believe it's 80% or 50% of increased exposure from the reflective aspect of the sun on the snow. And for every 1,000 feet of altitude, if you're going skiing, then that puts you at a 4% greater risk of UV radiation exposure. Every 1,000 feet is an extra 4% exposure. So these are things that we have to know and understand that your skin is important because think about this. Your skin is the largest organ of your body. It's the largest, it can be stretched for miles. So it's so important that we protect it. And your skin, it's not like you can take it off and put it back on. You get one shot with this. So you want to make sure that you protect it. I look at myself at 35 plus, that I know it's important that I protect my skin. I know it's important that I remind my patients, from the athletes to the Olympians to the NBA, NFL players, no matter who they are, the celebrities, guess what? We all have skin and it has to be protected. Now, I also want to talk about the aspect of waterproof versus water-resistant types of sunscreen, sunblock. When it's water-resistant, that by the standards right now, it says that you can be out in the sun for approximately 40 minutes and that sunblock that you're using will still maintain its SPF, again, sun protection factor exposure. It will keep that same protection for you. Now, waterproof means that if you're exposed to water, that the SPF, the sun protection factor, will still last for 80 minutes. So now I want to tell you a golden rule that I use. I tell my patients that if they have sunblock that's say, let's say 50%, SPF of 50%, SPF of 50, then that really means that you have 97% UV radiation protection. Now, I remind them to, when you're out in the sun, Protect yourself every 20 to 30 minutes, reapply it. Don't think that if you go swimming, you can be out there for 2 or 3 hours, and then when you think about it, you apply it. You really want to maintain yourself on a sequence of every 15 to 30 minutes, you want to reapply, reapply, reapply. It's so very, very important. And it's great if you can get one that's, well, let's talk about the types. There are the gels, there are the lotions, there are the creams, there are the spray-ons. All of them have their different values. However, we know that the gels, for example, you can sweat them off more readily. So I'm not the biggest fan of those. Even with the ones that are spray-on, the spray-on protectives, they can be good. However, many of them have an inhalation issue, meaning that you should not inhale them. So if you're going to place them on children or yourself, I recommend that you spray them on your hand first at a distance and then apply them to yourself. Not to just stand there and spray it all over yourself and you're inhaling the fumes, because those fumes can be quite damaging to your pulmonary parenchyma, to your lungs, basically. So that's something to think about. And I also want to remind you that when it comes to children, before the American Pediatric Foundation felt that you should not apply sunscreen or sunblock to children that are less than 6 months old. That rule has pretty much been revamped now, because many of us in medicine, we're always looking for what I call evidence-based medicine, meaning that what is the research? So often my patients, when I talk to them, even friends will say, well, Dr. Levi, I heard, or I think. So when someone tells me that, I say, well, where did you hear that? Show me the study. Where did you read that? I want to see the science of it. It's not about simply what you're being told. When someone says, "Oh, they told me," okay, I say, well, who is they? I want to talk to them. Who's the they? Because information is very, very important. That it's proper information. And right now, with the internet, of course, with web access, we have access to a lot of information. It doesn't mean it's the best information. It doesn't mean it's accurate information. It doesn't mean it's information that's going to help you with your health and to maintain your health or your skin integrity. So it's very, very important that you read the studies, that you get the proper information, and more importantly, that you apply sunscreen, sunblock every day. It's so very, very important. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about now is let's talk about different forms of skin cancer. And then I want to bring on our guests, because we have so much to talk about today. So when it comes to different forms of skin cancer, there's the ones that are melanoma, and there's non-melanoma. So let's talk about non-melanoma first. So non-melanoma types are basal cell carcinoma as well as squamous cell carcinoma. Basal cell is the most common form. It's a very slow-growing type cancer. We usually treat that by just excising it, excisional biopsy, and we take it out. Now, there's another form. It's called squamous cell carcinoma. That form of cancer is much more aggressive. It does not have the same aggressivity as melanoma, but it's still more aggressive. Again, we take it out. Now, let's talk about melanoma. There are different forms of melanoma, and I want to go through what I call the ABCs of melanoma. So melanoma is a form of skin cancer. It's very, very aggressive. It can be. The key with melanoma is that it's diagnosed early. The earlier the diagnosis, the greater your chance of having it properly treated successfully and increasing your lifespan, basically, because it can metastasize to your lymph nodes as well as to your brain, to different organs of your body. So it's so important that you understand that if you have a lesion, let's talk about how melanoma looks. If you have a mole and that mole or that birthmark is changing colors, if it becomes more asymmetric, if the borders change, if it becomes more variegated. Variegated means that there are different colors. It's black, it's green, it's brown. If it starts to be very itchy, if it oozes, if it bleeds, if there's a change in the texture, if it feels like the skin of an orange or a lemon, then these are things that you have to immediately go and have them checked out. And when it comes to checking out things, guess what? It's important that you check out your own body, that you do your own self-examinations. When you do that, do it very systematically, and hopefully you can do it with a partner, with your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whoever you're with, a family member even, to really make sure that you're not missing anything. And I recommend that you do it the following way. Start off with the right side of your body. Look at the entire right side of your body, front and back. Then look at the left side of your body, front and back. The areas that you can't see, for example, behind your ears, your neck, your back, your buttocks. Guess what? You get someone to help you, get a mirror, If you can't have it in your hand, handheld mirror, or get in front of a large mirror and you have another mirror in your hand, just look at everything behind you to make sure you're not missing anything. Be sure you look at the soles of your feet, the palms of your hand, in between your soles, in between your toes. It's very, very important because there are different forms of melanoma, acrolentiginous type of melanoma, which can be under your fingernails. If you see a dark brown or black streak on your fingernails, it's so important that you get that checked. It may not be just color discolor, it may not be a discoloration, it may be melanoma. So these are things we have to look at. Well, now the question, of course, is, well, who has a greater propensity of developing melanoma? Well, we see this 3 times more prevalent in men than in women, in Caucasian men between the ages of 40, believe 45 and 55. We see it mainly in people, again, as I said before, who have freckles, who have a lot of moles, who have a family history of this. So if you have a lot of sun exposure, if you're in a job where you're out doing a lot in the sun every day, then your chances are increased. If you're not using sunscreen, sunblock protection, again, you're at higher risk. So again, when it comes to melanoma, if you see a lesion on your skin, something that looks funny, feels funny, if it doesn't look good, most likely it's not. So listen to your body. Don't downplay what your body's trying to tell you. You know, one of my mentors in medical school would always say, Levi, when it comes to being a really great clinician, you simply do one thing. You listen to the patient, you examine them from head to toe, and they will tell you their story. Don't simply assume the story. You listen attentively, be present, and examine them appropriately and treat them the way you want your family members treated. I think it's very easy to do that in medicine. So I'm hoping that you would treat yourself the same way, because cancers, skin cancers, melanoma, basal cell carcinoma, as well as squamous cell carcinoma, they're very, very common. And one thing I can tell you also when it comes to melanoma and skin cancers, you know, it's estimated that one person dies every minute, every 61 minutes actually, from melanoma, of course, skin cancer. So if you think about that, that's over 8,600 people per year. So we really have to be cognizant of the information that we have that's present for us, and more importantly, apply sunscreen, apply these things, because they will really help to expand your life, but more importantly, they will help prevent this type of injury. Because one thing about sun exposure, it's really clear now from the data that sun exposure is a primary cause of skin cancers. So I can't drill that home enough. I hope that really gets everyone to do what they can to protect themselves. Because Chad Robinson, whom we talked about earlier, this great man, was even doing that so often, and still, you know, he left us because of skin cancer, because of melanoma. And again, we send out our heartfelt condolences to his family. Now, I want to talk also about our guest today. Our guest today is a really great guy. I met him. He was in service at the International Special Olympics last year with myself. And I saw him literally every day there. You know, as a medical director, it was great to have him there, because he was like our sunscreen medical director, because he was there present with his team, with this knowledge to give to everyone, and more importantly, with his product line of Sunshield. So I want to welcome to the show, Alan. How you doing, young man?
Hey, doing very well. Thank you for having me.
We're so grateful to have you here, man. Let's talk about Sunshield. Let's talk about your company. How did you get involved with this?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we got started a handful of years ago.
Yes. And
to kind of go back a little bit, basically I've been someone that's always wanted to kind of get into companies, start a company from the ground up,
yes.
and really kind of make a change
yes.
with something.
Yes.
And when I was 20 years old, I was living with in the back house of my parents' very good friend, Roger Reed, and his family.
Yes.
He was diagnosed with melanoma when I moved in, and stage 4 melanoma. Within a year of me living there, he passed away.
Yes.
It was a very sad experience to be a part of see how close the family kind of comes together. Yes. And not knowing much about melanoma, I didn't think that it was that bad of a disease.
Yes.
You know, I thought it was something that might happen to people that are older, and you
yes.
can get cut out, and there's so much disease, so many cancers out there. Melanoma is just one of them.
Yes.
But it wasn't until probably a few years later that I was with my high school friend, Tyler Hagstrom, who's got a great mindset for robotics, engineering, and just coming up with great ideas.
Yes.
He was on a bike ride in Manhattan Beach, and he applied sunscreen on his way out. But the fact that he was out for over 2 hours, he had been probably sweating. He didn't have any, methods to reapply sunscreen because he's
Yes.
in board shorts. It's not easy, and he knows that he got burnt on the way back.
Yes.
And at that point, he kind of had this light bulb moment of, you know what? There's hand sanitizer dispensers everywhere. It's something that started off as a novelty and became kind of a necessity due to the H1N1 flu, and he thought, why not sunscreen? Why not for skin cancer?
Of course.
And from that point, from my past, my experience of wanting to do something but feeling kind of powerless, this felt perfect.
Yes.
And so we did a little bit more research, and we found out that not only is skin cancer a big issue in the world, it's the most common form of cancer in the United States.
Of course.
And that opened our eyes so large. We then watched this video called Dear 16-Year-Old Me. And if you haven't seen it, or if any of the listeners have not seen it, I highly recommend it.
Say the name of it again.
Dear 16-Year-Old Me.
Dear 16-year-old me.
It's a PSA basically talking about people in their mid-20s, 30s, talking about their 16-year-old self and what they would have done differently.
Yes.
It really opens your eyes to knowing that, okay, melanoma is it's an older person's disease, but more importantly, it's a young person's disease.
Of course.
And that's what's actually really scary.
Right.
More than one bad sunburn in your early adolescence more than doubles your chances of getting skin cancer.
Absolutely.
And it's actually one of the most common forms of cancer for young adults and young people in general.
Right.
So once we found that out, and think about my past of growing up on the beach everywhere, never wearing sunscreen, getting the worst sunburns, always wanting to get tan,
Right.
whatever it might be.
Yes. Yes.
I never thought about any kind of repercussions in the future. I thought that was never a big deal.
Right.
My mom, when she was a kid, she was the type that would wear baby oil or whatever it would be. It was never really a
Protected.
thought. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So once I found that out, it just completely blew my mind, and I wanted to do this with Tyler to not only give people preventive measures so that when they're out, they have easy access to sunscreen,
Yes.
but just like you're doing today, this is a great opportunity to educate the public because
Absolutely.
it's all about awareness.
Yes.
And having a great voice like yours out on this show to reach a large audience. Skin cancer, melanoma is a highly preventable disease.
Very much so.
If you know about it, just like you're telling everyone, people can go to the dermatologist, get checked, and we can really make a strong effect on skin
Absolutely.
cancer.
Absolutely. Well, I know last year, you did a lot for the Special Olympians there. I mean, I had access to it myself as one of the people there working, all of my team, as well as the Olympians. I just think about all of those people you saved last year, just being there last year. That was a major event.
Yeah, that was really an incredible place to be, and we were so excited when we got invited to that event. It was really interesting because that was really kind of our launch of our
Yes.
product. We had been doing a lot of different tests of basically putting our dispensers out into Santa Monica Beach or Venice Beach to see how people liked it.
Right.
But being able to see from a world perspective of all different backgrounds,
Yes.
all different ethnicities, skin colors,
Right.
the appreciation and the acceptance of
Right.
if it's there, I will use it, and I will
Absolutely.
think about things differently.
Absolutely.
It felt so great, and to be a part of what you were doing there at the Special Olympics and the amount of people that of lives that you were changing. There's those great stories of someone who couldn't hear,
Yes.
and you guys
Oh,
went
yes.
in and. Now he was just talking up a storm. I
Right,
think it was,
exactly. That was good. That was one of the teams from the continent of Africa that had not heard, no one on the team could hear, and then they got hearing aids before they left, and the team could hear their coach's voice for the first time. They could hear the whistle for the first time versus hand movements. That
So
was
incredible.
It was extraordinary. That was. I love the fact that you mentioned, and it's so important. I want to remind people also that, skin cancer can happen to anyone with skin.
Yes.
It doesn't matter the pigment in your skin. So often people have this fallacy that if you have dark skin like myself, as I'm a dark-skinned African-American, so that if you have dark skin that you're just protected and that you can't get skin cancer. Well, that's not true at all. Anyone with skin can get it. If you have sun exposure, if you're not protecting yourself properly, it can happen.
And that's completely true, and it's a widely misconception.
Yes, it is.
And the problem with that is that due to the fact that people don't think that they will get skin cancer, they have any issue because they have more melatonin in their skin
Right.
or whatever it might be,
Right.
they don't go to see a dermatologist.
Right.
They
Well,
don't put on
right.
sunscreen, and now by the time that they notice a mole or something like that on their skin, it tends to be a little bit too late for them.
Absolutely. And as you said, it doesn't matter how much melanin you have in your skin, it still needs to be protected. Your skin needs protection. Tell us about your device. What does it do exactly now?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Sunshield is a motion-activated sunscreen dispenser for all public spaces.
Yes.
So we're really pushing these products out there to be at all different hotels, parks and recreation,
Yes.
schools and universities, and just all outdoor areas to give free and easy access to sunscreen for all outdoor users.
Absolutely.
So basically, our dispenser comes with a liter of sunscreen inside. It's motion activated, so all you have to do is put your hand underneath it. Sunscreen comes out.
Right.
This is something that we provide to venues for them to either purchase, or we can have actually with our messaging space up above the machine. It can become a sponsor activated machine. So
you can literally have this design to have the logo of the sponsor.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Or the messaging space of whatever the venue wants to say.
Yes.
So basically a corporate sponsor can come in and say that we want to have these dispensers for the Little League parks.
Absolutely.
For everyone to have access to sunscreen.
You know what, too, as you were saying, I was thinking it'll be great to have it when hopefully the Olympics will come here in 2020, to have it at the Olympics here, to maybe get in contact with the Rams people, to have it
Absolutely.
at the Rams Stadium, when that's completed, to have it there. And I also think it'll be important to make sure that this is a product, it's so fantastic, to have it at all the schools. Every school should have this, especially the younger kids, to make sure that they're protected. Because as we said before, the major amount of skin damage happens up until you're 18 years of age. It can continue, of course, but up until 18, those are key years to protect yourself.
Absolutely. And that's a big thing that we want to be doing. We want to get immersed in all the different school systems so that we can do exactly what you're saying. Have these dispensers available for all kids to be able to use sunscreen.
Yes.
Because actually with kids, what's pretty interesting, when we were at the Special Olympics, for instance, there was a whole camp that were just lining up to use the machine.
They sure were, yes.
Yeah.
I saw that many days,
Yeah.
man. Yes. And
And
if you notice, if one started this, and every people, they talked about it, everyone said, oh, that's protection? They all lined up.
Exactly. And what the camp counselor was saying to us afterward was he was amazed that the kids were going up to use the machine because he usually sits there with a spray can for 45 minutes trying to spray the kids down,
yes,
and they absolutely hate it. They want to
course.
run different places.
Of course.
But the fact that it's motion activated, it has a unique design to it.
Yes,
It's
it
not
does.
just a box on the wall. It's something that looks
Well, it looks high
attractive.
tech, man. It looks
Yeah.
like something a gamer like myself would love. It just looks kind of alien-like, man. I love it. I love the design.
Yeah, thank you.
So I think I'm hoping that you will definitely get it in all recreational areas, parks, schools, universities, athletic departments. It offers so much. It really does.
Yeah,
It really
thank you.
does. Of course, Alan. Now, I want to tell everyone we have another guest that's going to call in shortly. His name is Graham. And, hey, Graham, are you there? Hey, Graham.
Yeah,
Hey, good morning, young man. It's Dr. Levi. How you doing?
doing good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Happy to have you on the show with us. How have you been?
Yeah, pretty well.
Good. Well, look, I want you to tell our audience about your story, about your life, and what's going on with you. Where are you living right now, too? You're in Minnesota?
Yeah.
Great. Tell us about your health right now and the challenges that you've had.
Well, I was diagnosed when I was 9 years old.
And what were you diagnosed with exactly, Graham?
Stage 3 Spitzoid melanoma.
Yes, which is a very rare form of melanoma, actually.
Yeah.
So what treatments have you had?
I think I've had like 17 to 18 surgeries so far.
Okay. Have you had any chemotherapy or any type of immunotherapy, anything like that? Only surgeries?
Yeah.
Now, I'm listening.
And scans.
And scans also. Well, how are you doing right now overall?
I'm okay.
Good. What about school? What grade are you in now? We're going to be right back with Graham. We got a quick pause. He'll be back, tell us about his story. He was diagnosed with a very rare form of melanoma. And the wonderful thing about Graham is he started a foundation that we'll talk about. We'll talk about his foundation, and we'll talk about what he's doing to really raise funds and, more importantly, raise the consciousness with respect to education and raising money for cancer research. Hey, Graham, are you back with us?
Yeah.
Tell us about your foundation, young man. What do you do?
Well, I make the rainbow loom bracelets, and I sell them for $1 each. And I've made
27,000 bracelets.
27,000 bracelets.
That's a lot of bracelets. How long has that taken? How many years did that take to do?
2 years.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Now, what's the name of your foundation again?
Graham's Gift.
And do you have a website?
On Facebook.
What's the website address?
Just our Facebook page.
The Facebook page.
Sounds like your mom is right there giving you something.
Yeah.
That's good. Is your mom there? Does she want to get on screen? Let's bring her in. Let's talk to her. Hey, Sherelle, are you there?
I was hoping not to.
Oh, of course, beautiful lady. How are you? Welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. We're so happy to have you and Graham on the show today. You know, he's really an inspiration to us, someone who is fearlessly looking cancer in the face and saying, I will not succumb. He's fearlessly saying that I will fight on and I will do my best to raise the consciousness about skin cancer and, more importantly, do what he can to raise money for cancer research. It's really phenomenal.
Yeah, great job. Started making little bracelets just as a way to keep himself busy when he was having surgery or driving back and forth to the Mayo Clinic.
Yes.
And started selling them for $1 a piece. And we really thought we'd only sell 20 or 30. You know, maybe Grandma and Grandpa would buy 20.
Yes. Yes.
And he sold thousands and thousands, and he's raised almost $100,000.
Wow.
That's
and it's
fantastic.
Quite a whirlwind.
It really is fantastic. You know, when you look at your son, what does it mean for you when you look at him and think about what he's doing and making such a great difference? Because I know looking at his Facebook page and reading about him, it impacted me in such a very profound, emotional way. In my mind, I always think, you know, if I were a parent, I cannot imagine what it is for you internally to have some of the turmoil as well as some of the great feelings of victory that you must have. It must be a very emotional roller coaster.
It really has been. He, you know, it's, I always say you just don't see it coming. You don't
Yes.
think of melanoma. Melanoma and pediatrics shouldn't even be in the same sentence. It's
I
just
agree.
not her. And so, you know, I look at him every single day and thank God he's here with us. And I watch his skin really close.
Yes.
I'm kind of sunscreen police.
That's good.
And Graham is one of 8, so his messages kind of spread out. Our neighborhood kids and his brothers and sisters, friends and siblings, they all know it. I mean, if you're over here, you're going to put sunscreen on, and I don't want anyone to have to go through what Graham went through.
Of course, of course. How does the community embrace you there right now? Because he's really a hero. He truly is.
Oh, I think so too. You know, it's interesting. He's a 12-year-old. He likes lacrosse.
We're the same age, Graham.
He's smiling, right? He's a 12-year-old. You know, he likes to.
He likes the game. He's a gamer.
He's a gamer. And
We're gamers. That's it, Graham. I'm with
There
you.
you go. But
Pokemon Go.
Not after 10 p.m.
All right, okay. I agree with that statement. I totally agree. Well, what about your foundation now, Graham? What else are you selling? Is it only bracelets? Are you doing any other items there on your website?
Well, it's just I'm just selling mostly bracelets right now.
Okay.
And he's got a T-shirt fundraiser up too right now. I think it's going to end in about a week, and he's doing a melanoma walk in Minneapolis in 2 weeks or 1 week. When is your melanoma walk? Oh, yes, it is. Sorry. And it's about a week.
Oh,
and so we
fantastic.
have a T-shirt fundraiser online too, and the T-shirts are $20, and they have a lacrosse theme because he loves lacrosse.
Oh, that's a good
We
sport.
donate all the money to church. We've donated to children's hospitals and clinics in Minnesota, as well as the Children's Cancer
Research fund?
Fund,
Yes.
and the Melanoma Research Foundation.
Fantastic. Well, I just want to say, Graham, you're one of my heroes. I want to tell you to keep doing what you're doing. We're grateful to have you here, and you're just making a big difference. When are you guys coming out to Los Angeles?
I don't know.
You got to come out here, man. We want to see you in the studio. We want to have you right here in the studio.
We would love to come.
It's a great, great city. There's so much to do here. So I want to tell you, our foundation. Yes, Graham?
I've always wanted to go to Los Angeles.
I tell you, I love the city. I love the beach. I love the fact that we have Alan Sunshield here with us, because he'll have his sunscreen, sunblock device all over here, so you get protection wherever you go. So, as I'm talking to you, I was thinking with Alan, you have to have this on Hollywood Boulevard also.
Oh, absolutely.
And every theater, like the Grove, this is revolutionary.
Yes, completely. All outdoor venues for everyone walking around should have access to sunscreen.
I totally agree with you. So we'll have to get one of these devices out to Minnesota also, so at one of the next walks that you have or run, whatever it is, for the Melanoma Foundation or for cancer research, they should definitely have one there. I think that's really important.
Absolutely.
It truly is. Now, tell me this. What do your brothers and sisters think about what you're doing, Graham? Are they real supportive? Do they help you make the bracelets?
Yeah. Charlie, he doesn't really help because he's usually in his bedroom playing video games.
Oh, he's like Dr. Levi then. Okay, I got it.
He plays a lot of video games.
Oh, really? What does he play? What is his favorite game? League of Legends? Call of Duty? Which one?
Black Ops 3.
That's a great one too. Yeah, I like that game also. Yeah, that's a good one. I don't want to start talking about gaming because then we'll be on a whole different tangent. Trust me. What about Pokemon Go? Do you guys have that? You've been playing that?
Yeah.
What do you think about that game?
Oh, it's really fun.
I love it.
Okay,
What
Grant. When we were at the Mayo Clinic last week for scans,
Yes.
found a Pokemon in the PET scan suite.
Yeah.
Did you really? And which one was it?
It was a Zubat.
I don't like that one. That's the hardest one to catch. Even when I'm spinning the ball with my thumb to hit that one, it always flies up. That's my least favorite one, I'm telling you. What level are you right now? I'm level 13.
I'm a level 11.
Oh, really? I'll be waiting for you then. You got to bring it. You have to bring it. My goal is to be at 15 by the end of the week. Maybe 16 by the end of the week. It's very, very addictive, though. Trust me.
Yeah.
Let me just stop talking about gaming. So I want to say though, I think what you and your mom are doing, it's fantastic. You're really making a difference. And then the other thing I want to share with you that our show, the Dr. Levi show, we're going to give you a donation of $1,000 for your project. And with that $1,000, can you please send us maybe a big picture of you and your mom when you get the check so we can put it on Facebook? We want to do that. We just want to thank you. And then I'll send you another $300 to send me 300 bracelets so I can give them out in my practice to everyone. So we're going to send you $1,300, and I hope that helps. And I just want to tell you, I really appreciate the fact that you're making a difference. You really touch our hearts here, and we're grateful that you're doing what you're doing, Graham.
You're an inspiration, Graham.
You really are.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Mom, any other thoughts that you have about your wonderful, amazing, phenomenal, fantastic, magnificent, splendiferous son? Any questions?
Said it all. Thank you.
Well, what's the rest of the day like for you today now, Graham? What do you go back to do? You go back to working on bracelets or resting, or what's the deal for you today?
We normally, right now, during the summer, we play soccer and basketball.
Great. So you stay pretty active?
Yeah.
That's very important. What about your diet? You're eating really well? Hey, Mom, is he eating well?
He eats well.
That's great. You're great. So no white sugar, no white flour, minimal dairy. You're exercising every day?
He definitely exercises every day, but his diet does have a little too many flaming hot Cheetos in it.
Oh, I would definitely put the flaming Cheetos down. Oh, my goodness.
He is 12, so.
Yeah, that's true. I have my Cheetos days, too. My Cheetos and my Pringles and Now and Laters. Oh, I had those days. Mary Jane's, Now and Laters. I can go on. I had my candy days, but that was, you're 12, right, Graham?
Yeah.
And I'm like 13, 14 almost plus. 13, 14 plus. So listen, I just want to thank you for being a part of our show. We'll send you the check for $1,300. sending me the 300 bracelets, so I will give those out in my practice, and I'll give some to Alan and his crew also. And I want to thank you, Graham, for being a part. I want to thank your mom. You got an amazing son, and what you're doing is really fantastic. So if I make it to Minnesota on a speaking engagement or gig, I will definitely give you guys a call, and we'll go look for Pokemon together, Graham.
Oh yeah.
Get ready. You should be up by then by level 13, 15, so get ready.
All right, I'll be level 20 by then.
Oh, okay, I'm going to hold you to that, young man. All right, we'll send the check off later today, and thank you all so much.
Thank you.
All right,
All right, we'll send you the link to the show, too. Bye-bye.
right.
Bye, guys.
bye.
He's fantastic.
Oh, he's great.
I mean, just an amazing young man. And, I love the fact when people inspire me to be better, that they remind me that there's such good in humanity, and that as we look for good, we find good. If you look for things that make a difference, you find those. If you live a life of complaining and moaning and not being happy, then you find more complaining and moaning, because that's what we embrace.
Absolutely.
So Graham is really, I got to thank you, Alan. What a great connection. He's just phenomenal.
Great kid. Really love him and his family and everything they're doing to really promote skin cancer awareness. And our thoughts are with him all the time.
He'll make it.
He will make it, absolutely. He'll get through this, and he'll inspire so many other kids going through the same thing.
Absolutely. We got to get him out to Los Angeles.
Absolutely.
That's what I thought. I love to have him sit right here in the studio with you and I, and we can talk and just get to the heart of who he is and why he does this. Can you imagine at 12 years old to think outside the box? At 12, 11, those kids are often thinking only about themselves, what affects them. But he is a visionary thinking about making a difference in the lives of other people and hopefully extending the lives of other people.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you're completely right. At that age, it's such a woe is me kind of time.
Right.
And the fact that all you want to do is either just go play sports, be with your friends, whatever it might be.
Exactly.
But he's going to get treatment. He's going to get surgery.
Right.
And the fact that he's still out there really promoting this in a positive light is
Absolutely.
such an inspiration.
It's an inspiration. It really is. It was also, I thought it was amazing looking at him. No complaining.
Yeah.
No moaning. No, oh yeah, it's been tough, Dr. Levi. None of that. It's
just a nice smile.
Just a nice smile.
Yeah.
A beautiful smile. And his mom also, what an amazing woman. That shows you the power of parenting also. I think parents can really, they do two things, I believe, Alan. I want to hear your thoughts about this. I think they teach us how to act and how not to act. And his mom is definitely teaching him how to act, how to live, and how to be.
Absolutely. I could not agree more with that statement. And, kind of going back to your comment about basically people kind of coming together and the power of people and the power of what everyone can kind of do. One thing that we've done with Sunshield is we've really started working with a lot of the different foundations like Graham's Gift and other foundations all across the United States that are a little bit smaller, where they know someone that's either been going through treatment, they've gone through it themselves, or whatever it might be. And the amount of passion that's there to make a difference.
Absolutely.
And the willingness to kind of go through any wall to make a difference, to raise awareness, to raise education, it just shows you that by bringing everyone together and unifying this whole, and I don't say industry, but people that have been affected or people that have this desire, such great things can happen, and
Absolutely.
It's the power of the people.
Absolutely. And tell me about your company now, Sunshield. How can people contact you?
Yeah,
You
so
have a website, you have social media platforms. How can they connect with you?
absolutely. So we're on social media. We're on Instagram at The Sunshield, also Facebook, The Sunshield.
Great.
But you can find us on our website at www.thesunshield.com. That'll have our contact information as well as our phone number, so anyone can reach out to us if anyone wants to put it in their local community, or if anyone wants to help us to sponsor it for a different location altogether.
Absolutely. And as you said, this can be the logo of the event. They can place that right here also.
Exactly. Yeah. So any kind of message that they would like above the sunscreen ingredients can be placed. It's also front and back, so anyone walking in front of the dispenser or behind the dispenser will understand your message.
Right.
And know what you're doing.
And the other great thing about it is what you're offering with the sunscreen is that a SPF of 50, which really gives ultraviolet protection of 97%, which is really fantastic.
Absolutely.
So your product is great. Your company continues to grow. Where is your vision? Where do you see this company 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I see the dispensers as just a platform for change.
Yes.
So I see these dispensers all around the United States and
internationally.
Internationally, we're already talking to places in Australia, New Zealand, South Africa.
Yes.
So we see this as being something that really catches on, just like the hand sanitizer dispensers.
Right.
But outside of this, we are so much more than just a dispenser. We really want to connect with many foundations, many people, and build a culture, build something that's much different, so everyone can kind of feel included into this aspect and want to protect their skin, want to think differently about sunscreen in the way that they go outdoors. We want everyone to go out and have a great time.
Yes.
We just want to hopefully change the mindset of the public masses.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you, just by having the dispensers in communities that have a need for them and to be protected, you're doing all the right stuff, Alan. I really applaud you. I really appreciate what you're doing. And more importantly, I appreciate the person that you are, someone who is an advocate, someone who is about education, and also about aspiration, reminding people that you have to be inspired to do something to make a change. If you see a need for something, don't simply look, participate in your life, do something about it. It's not about simply consuming, it's about giving back and being involved in the community as an advocate as well as an activist, and you're doing both of those.
Thank you, and to kind of touch on that, to kind of tell the public, it all starts with baby steps.
Yes.
It's the littlest thing. So if you just do the smallest thing to make a little bit of a change, that will inspire someone else to pick up on that. And now all of a sudden you're moving just a little bit further and a little bit further, and now you have something.
Absolutely. Well, look at Graham and his mom and his family. I mean, started with 20 bracelets. Now he's made over 27,000 in 2 years.
It's unbelievable. And there's foundations all across the United States, like Keegan's Kids,
Melanoma Foundation.
Melanoma Foundations, all these great foundations doing small things in their community, and now they're getting so much traction, which is really awesome.
And they should get the traction because the by definition of what they're doing is making a difference to save people's lives. It's real.
It's real.
Skin cancer is not a joke.
Yeah.
I see it in my practice at least 3 to 4 times a year.
Wow.
Which is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a hand surgeon, so I take care of hand, wrist, elbow, shoulder issues. But to see people come in and say, well, they just had a mole removed and they think it's melanoma, when they say that, it's devastating news for me to hear often and for them to tell me the story.
Right.
Health is something we really have to know that every day is a gift, and we really have to do our best to eat properly, to not smoke, to not vape, to minimize drinking, to eat properly, and to exercise, and to protect our skin. We have to do it.
Mm-hmm. Completely agree.
We really, really do. Well, what's on your schedule for the rest of the month? What does your team have involved?
It's a very exciting time for Sunshield right now. Basically, we just got all of our inventory in.
Yes.
And we're going now be giving it to all of the people that have been patiently waiting for our dispensers.
Of course.
So it's a very exciting time to finally see these dispensers all across the United States. A lot of excitement there. And then from there, we're just going to constantly work on this education and really pushing this message to connect with more people so the awareness can really grow.
Absolutely. Well, I can tell you right now, Alan, you're doing a great job. I admire you. And like I said before, we've talked about it before, but I really want to talk about investing and being a part of your company. We've talked about it because I think for myself as a physician, it's always about, as the first rule in medicine is do no harm. And this is a great way of not only not doing harm, but doing a lot of good.
Absolutely.
And you're doing that.
And we see it as really this is a profit for purpose. This is a company where you get to be a part of something and you get to do something great for the world. And so we are in the process of, raising financing so that we can bring this company to a much larger scale.
Yeah.
So we're very open to anyone who wants to be a part of this mission and be a part of our company. And they can reach us, on our website. They can reach us through our email. Basically, we're always open, and we would love to talk to anyone.
Well, I got to thank you, Alan. So you heard it, everyone. I was Alan with Sunshield. Please go to their website, and the Facebook page again is The Sunshield.
TheSunshield.com, correct.
Fantastic. I want to thank Alan. I want to thank Graham and his mom. I hope you enjoyed the show today. It was really about education as well as aspiration and inspiration, all of those, and really giving you an understanding and a platform about the basics of why sun protection is so important, different forms of skin cancer, and also remind you that you have to do it yourself. You have to do it. No one's going to say, oh, did you remember to apply your sunscreen? You have to remind yourself that your skin, the largest organ of your body, has to be protected. Now, I want to go over a few things with you. I want to thank you again for joining me on all my social media platforms. The YouTube channel continues to grow. We've hit now 20,000 subscribers, which is really fantastic. So I want to thank everyone. Our goal, of course, is 1.5 million. I know we're going to surpass that easily. So I want to thank you for being involved. And I want to let you know that now we're on iHeartRadio as well as iTunes. And we'll be on Twitch soon, so I can't wait to start that. We'll have real interactive conversation with the gaming community and anyone who has a health issue, really. It's really about me being of service. That's why I was born, to simply be of service. So I'm grateful to be here today with you, and I want to remind you, be kind to people, be yourself, and remember that you serve a purpose, that the universe didn't simply place you here. You serve a purpose, and that by definition, you're already worthy. So we have some more fitness and health videos coming up in a few more weeks. We have new ones online right now you can look at. So I want to just thank you for being a part of the show. It's Dr. Levi with your show, The Dr. Levi Show. So have a great, great week. And I want to really thank Chad Robinson's family. I want to reach out to them again and thank Chad. When he was here, he was a part of the show. He was a listener of the show and an advocate of the show. And now that he's made his transition to heaven, I know that he's going to still be supporting the show. So rest in peace, Chad Robinson, and to your family, our deepest heartfelt condolences. This is Dr. Levi. Bye, everyone.